Investigator Anna Garcia has been looking into the treatment some policyholders have received from a major insurance company. It began when a whistleblower from inside the insurance company told us about some alleged problems, with some older clients having their policies canceled after they'd invested tens of thousands of dollars, and just when they needed it the most. Here's Anna Garcia with her exclusive investigation.
B is 87 years old and her husband just turned 93. They've asked us not to use their last name.
I couldn't possibly do everything for my husband.
They're in an assisted living facility in Southern California.
It gave me peace of mind. I said, thank goodness we have long-term care insurance.
They, like millions of Americans, bought long-term care insurance to cover the costs of the problems that come with aging, in-home care, assisted living facilities, even a nursing home. For more than 10 years, B says they paid their premiums. But when her husband had a stroke in 2001, B claims she struggled to get the insurance company to cover the costs of home care.
I couldn't sleep nights.
B and her husband are insured by CNA, which is part of Continental Casualty and is headquartered in Chicago. She says CNA told her the company wouldn't pay for home care because her husband's condition wasn't severe enough. So she says she used her savings to pay for 5 years of in-home care. And when that dried up and they needed assisted living,
I had to take a reverse mortgage in order to make this move to cover the cost of this new apartment setup.
B says CNA is finally paying for her husband's nursing home, but B claims she had issues with her policy as well.
They were ready to drop me before I needed them.
She says CNA told her her policy had been canceled because she hadn't paid her premiums, though she insists she did. B showed us copies of canceled checks and a refund for paying too much.
They had collected 2 checks and had them cashed.
B says while she was trying to prove she was wrongly terminated, CNA told her in the meantime she could apply for reinstatement. She did and was rejected. B says CNA claims she had a pre-existing condition of osteoporosis.
I wasn't going to take this lying down.
After months of battling with CNA, B says she prevailed and was reinstated at the same premium she had been paying.
I was paid up the whole time.
Some inside the industry say no one should be surprised at the story B and her husband tell.
Have you ever been instructed not to be helpful?
Yes, I have.
This insider came to Channel 4 News exclusively to expose how they say CNA does business.
I just really feel like these elderly are being totally taken advantage of, especially in the most vulnerable time in their lives, and I'm angry.
We agreed to disguise the whistleblower's identity, who has worked at several insurance companies, including CNA.
I've seen them deny claims even though they have doctor statements saying that they are incapacitated.
Attorney Frank Darras is a national expert on insurance law representing policyholders. In other words, he sues insurance companies.
It's a tried and true claim strategy. Deny, 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 delay, delay, delay.
Darras says he's never sued CNA, but says the insurance industry in general has this attitude.
Sick people don't fight hard, and old sick people don't last long.
Darras says he gets more than 2,000 calls a month at his Ontario office from people who say their insurance company has wrongly denied them.
The last 2 clients I had died.
Darras claims that, too, is part of the industry's strategy.
That's where they know they're going to win. Seniors can't fight long.
Policies can lapse or cancel because the premiums haven't been paid on time or haven't been paid at all. But what if the payments are delayed because of a change of address at CNA?
We have had a new premium billing address in which to send the payments, and our customers were not notified of that new address.
Our insider says the payment address changed from Nashville, Tennessee to Phoenix, Arizona, though some original contracts still list the Nashville address.
It takes 3 to 4 weeks for that payment to be forwarded to Phoenix, causing the policy to lapse.
CNA confirms it moved its payment center, but says that was 10 years ago, and they say they notified clients. Also, CNA insists it takes them just 1 day to forward payments. The whistleblower says CNA makes it difficult for policyholders to figure out where to send their payments, especially since CNA's own notices list several addresses.
At the top it says Nashville, Tennessee. So I assumed that's where they wanted me to send this. So I sent it there.
Rosemary Morgan is a 72-year-old ballroom dancer and real estate agent in Virginia Beach, Virginia. She admits she mailed her payment to CNA late on the 17th, but before the 31-day grace period expired.
They dropped me, and I was very, very surprised.
2 months later, Morgan stopped payment on the check after CNA canceled her policy. She says CNA told her that she could reapply for coverage, but would have to prove she was in the same physical and mental health she was 6 years ago when Morgan bought the policy. And how much had Morgan paid CNA all those years?
Over $15,000.
The insider claims policies generally begin lapsing after seniors have already paid tens of thousands to CNA.
The average premium, it seems to be around the $25,000. I do feel like they're intentionally causing policies to lapse.
If these allegations were proved to be true, they'd be very troubling.
California Insurance Commissioner Steve Poizner.
Seniors need and deserve special protection.
We played a tape of the insider's claims for the commissioner. While Poizner would not comment directly on CNA without his own investigation, he did tell us what the law requires in California.
But if they're trying to avoid a paper trail,
then that's illegal. They have to document even all of their approvals in their files.
Have you been told not to put things in writing?
Yes.
What about wrongly denying claims?
It's wrong, and it's the #1 thing we look for when we do our audits.
On the issue of canceled policies because of confusing and multiple addresses for payments,
you can have several addresses just on one statement alone.
If a policyholder sends a payment to any of these addresses that are on the statement, then California laws and my regulations are pretty clear. Once the payment's received by any of these CNA offices, that is money received at that moment, at that time. And so if there's delays getting the money from one office to the other, that's the insurance company's problem, not the policyholders.
CNA left us voicemail claiming if a payment is received at any address on the payment slip, it is considered received. That seems to contradict this CNA letter we obtained from just a year ago, informing a client that if they mail their payment to the incorrect address again, their check will not be accepted and it will be returned.
We have some age on us, but we're not stupid.
Unfortunately, B says the actions of her insurance company had devastating effects.
It was because of them that I had to get the reverse mortgage.
She says she's worried she could be dropped again.
It's taking undue advantage of people because of their age.
We gave CNA more than a month and a half to respond to these allegations in depth. CNA says it doesn't comment on specific cases as we outlined, and they declined to be interviewed on camera.
CNA said in voicemail they give a 66-day grace period for late payments, though this contract filed with California says 31 days. Here's the general statement they emailed us. Although we are no longer selling individual long-term care policies, we continue to service approximately 300,000 individual long-term care policyholders. We are proudly committed to meeting the continuing financial and customer service needs of these customers. The thorough procedures that we follow in the handling of our claims are among the best in the industry. We align our claim handling process and procedures to provide our insureds every opportunity to utilize their policy benefits to the fullest extent possible. Please note that our data indicates that CNA policyholders retain their policies at rates above industry average.
I thought I was buying security, thought I was buying a peace of mind, and I got zero.
Anna Garcia, Channel 4 News.
If you think you've been denied benefits or you want more information about our story,